Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. I'm Nicolette Hodge. Welcome to We Reflect the Light. As promised, this is part 4 of Victory is Ours, Rise of the Original Man and Woman. The war in the Middle East is on, sisters and brothers. It's not letting up. It's only intensifying, okay? The victory that we're about to witness in the Middle East is an example of the victory that we will achieve right here in the hills of North America as we get into formation through our unity as one body and navigate this hellhole and make our exodus out of America. So first, we're going to look at what it is that the news is saying. This segment right here, part 4, we're dealing with the famine. We're dealing with the economic destruction that's heading here to America, okay? So we're going to start off with some news clips. Let's see what the news is saying. And then we'll see what the scriptures are saying, right? And then we'll tie it all in together, letting you know what it is that we have to look forward to, warrior queens. And then we'll close out. So let's get right into it.
Fertilizer shortages are becoming a key factor for farmers. Analysts say it's already shifting expectations for the year ahead. Rabobank projects U.S. farmers will plant nearly 96 million acres of corn and more than 83 million acres of soybeans this spring, largely unaffected by rising input costs. But in other parts of the world, disruptions from the Middle East could hit hardest. Brazil, India, and Australia could limit crop expansion and reduce yields. Analysts say those pressures are most likely to affect farmers with less access to credit, raising concerns for global food production and long-term supply.
Due to the ongoing U.S., Israel, and Iran conflict, you must prepare for a severe food shortage. Most people think only oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz, but that is simply not true. This narrow waterway is also an important route for global fertilizer. Reportedly, around 50% of the world's traded urea fertilizer moves directly through the Strait of Hormuz. If this military standoff continues, a global food crisis is inevitable. Urea plays a critical role in food production, and the biggest producers are located around the Persian Gulf, including Iran, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. Large shipments from these nations pass through this route daily. If the strait remains disrupted, we face a massive fertilizer crisis. When supply drops, global agriculture is heavily affected. Dependent countries like Pakistan, India, Brazil, and African nations will face major problems. If this route stays blocked, the impact goes beyond energy markets, triggering higher food prices, lower crop production, and severe shortages. Tell me below what will happen next.
Farmers across America are not planting. The fertilizer price wave hasn't even hit yet. When farmers stop, every grocery store in America empties, and the damage won't stop until every household feels it. I want to go through a real story that's not really being talked about on mainstream media, and how you can actually prepare for it right now. You see, planting never happened, not the way it was supposed to this year. American farmers are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Input costs that doubled and crop prices that didn't even move. There's no profit for a lot of farmers right now. You see, if you plant, you lose money. If you don't plant, you lose land. if you don't own it. And the USDA just confirmed it, the lowest wheat acreage in over 107 years of recorded data. This is already bad from the Iran fertilizer crisis, but it's actually getting worse. And if you feel it, if you don't feel it now, you're going to feel it really soon. So let me break a little bit of this down. Tommy Salisbury Farms in Oklahoma, he leads the Farm Bureau's Young Farmers and Ranchers program. He said it on record. He said, we are paying input prices of 2026, but we're getting crop prices of the 1970s and the 1980s. Lorenda Overman Farms in North Carolina, her fertilizer and nitrogen costs have jumped massively this season, about 56%. That means it's 56% more expensive to grow her crops. The price that she'll get for what she harvests hasn't moved. These aren't economics or economists, reading charts. These are people standing in fields like this, looking at the soil, looking at the costs and saying, this doesn't add up. Planting crops that they know will actually lose money because the alternative is not planting at all and possibly losing their land if they can't keep making the payments or the rent payments, right? On March 31st, the USDA confirmed what farmers actually already knew. The prospective plantings report, based on surveys of nearly 74,000 farm operators, showed that all wheat planted in the country was about 43.8 million acres. This is the lowest level since records began in 1919. Again, 107 years of American agriculture. The country just recorded its lowest wheat planting in the entire history of the data. And if you're a farmer, I would love it if you'd put down in the comments below what you're experiencing right now so that I can learn more about what's going on. You see, people don't realize that this report was captured way before the worst of the fertilizer spike hit because the survey was taken in the first 2 weeks of March 2026. The number that you're looking at is actually the optimistic version. The June update is where we're going to see the real damage from what happened in Iran and the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. You see, two items are at the front of this cascade, and I'm going to get to them. But first, you need to understand why the planting data is worse than what the report shows, all right? Who's telling you that it's fine when it isn't, and what the farmers themselves are doing right now. That tells you exactly where prices are heading, okay? So Josh Linville, the VP of fertilizer at StoneX Group, posted the 6-week damage report from the Hormuz closure on April 10th. He said urea is up 49%. Liquid nitrogen is up 38%. I always pronounce it wrong. Andriathis ammonia is up 32%, and GAP is up 21%. Those are the four inputs, the fertilizer inputs, that determine whether a crop grows to full yield or comes in thin, like what you're seeing in this photo. Every one of them spiked after this survey was actually taken. USDA's own break-even math tells you those numbers do a farmer's decision for them, right? When corn costs $5 a bushel to grow in 2026, between the seeds, fertilizer, the fuel, the land, the labor, right? But it only sells for $4.20 a bushel, that doesn't make sense. When soybeans cost $127 to produce and they'll sell for, or a lot less to produce, was like, I don't remember the per acre, but they sell for a lot more. The government is pushing data showing American farmers are growing food below the cost of production. So what do? They dive into things like soybeans, right? The American Farm Bureau Federation surveyed farmers directly. 70% of them said they can't afford enough fertilizer this season. And again, look down below into the comments and see what the farmers are saying. It also showed that 19% of Southern farmers actually pre-ordered ahead of the spike when it comes to their fertilizer, right? 78% of them say they can't afford what they need, and 48% of Midwest farmers are in the exact same position. So what are they doing? Well, they're cutting wheat, the most nitrogen-hungry grain, because the nitrogen costs are prohibitive, and they're switching to soybeans. They're cheaper to grow, lower fertilizer demand, and soybean acres are actually up 4%. But the more soybean acres doesn't mean more food on the shelf. An AFDF economist, Faith Pum, said this: when producers cannot afford full fertilizer application rates, they may reduce nutrient use or shift acreage decisions, both of which of these increase the risk of lower yields. They're planting more soybeans because it's cheaper, not because the market needs them. And the soybeans are getting planted and receiving even thinner fertilizer. So you get more acres, right? Less nutrition per acre and higher risk of a thin harvest on the wheat and corn that goes into the ground. So nitrogen is spread thinner, weaker plants, lower per acre yield, and more vulnerability to drought and pests. See, 57% of winter wheat acres are already under drought conditions, which is up from 37% at the same time last year. Three pressures are now compounding on the same crop at the exact same time, and the relief isn't coming fast enough. Now, Linville at StoneX again says it takes 30 days to get a vessel of urea to load up in the Persian Gulf, sail it over here to the U.S., hit the U.S. stores or the shores, and then another 3 to 4 weeks to move that product from the stores to the interior, to the farmers, okay? The window from spring application has closed pretty much. The Strait could open any day now, but it's too late. The fertilizer takes 2 months to reach the field. The planting calendar doesn't wait for that. One more thing that the press has missed. Not only that, we've seen like some record drought numbers for the first quarter of this year already. You see, the press keeps missing it. Another thing that they missed is the rate for this year's planting report, which was 37.6, which is the lowest in the survey's history. Pro Farmer flagged it directly, saying fewer farmers answered than ever before. If the one is too stressed to fill out a government survey, they're the ones cutting the most acres. The March numbers, the problems, I believe that this June is going to be nuts. And I think that if you aren't prepared for what's coming, like buying extra food right now, like extra meat for your freezer, a little bit extra canned goods, not going crazy, but just doing something, I think you're going to get hit on the backside of this inflation wave. Because the sad thing is these government numbers are nowhere near reflecting what happened in Iran. And that's a big deal. These farmers, they're describing a system breaking in real time. If you're not ready for it, you're going to be part of it. And that's what I want to warn you about. Hopefully you got something out of this. Please talk.
All right, moving on.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The war is turning Iran into a major world power. That's the headline of a new op-ed in the New York Times by our next guest, Robert Pape, professor of political science at the University of Chicago. Professor Pape writes Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz could help elevate Iran to become a fourth center of global power, along with the United States, China, and Russia. Pape writes, quote, if Iranian control over the strait persists for months or years, as I believe it may, it will drastically reshape the global order to the detriment of the United States, unquote. Professor Pape joins us now from London. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Professor. Can you lay out your argument, why you believe the war is turning Iran into a major world power?
Yes. Thank you very much for having me. What most people know is that Iran is causing oil shortages through selective blockade using drones and mines. I'm going one step further. I'm discussing the power that selective blockade gives Iran today, in the coming months, and in the coming years. It is power because of geography. The choke point at Hormuz is geographically perfectly located to allow Iran to selectively control the shipping through Hormuz, which means it can use that selective control as leverage to gain political power in the Gulf, change the hierarchy, change the balance of power in the Gulf from a balance to a hierarchy where Iran now is at the top of the hierarchy. And if other states do not accept Iran's power, they lose tremendous gross domestic product. Also in Asia, the power that Iran has to cause the Asian states to distance themselves from the United States is already evident, and that's only going to grow over time because Asia is ground zero for the economic shock effects that Iran can have with its selective blockade. Then on top of that, when you look at the United States, look at how little power the United States has for its basing, with its basing structure in the Persian Gulf. We know the United States has bases in Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, but look how vulnerable those bases are, how much they've actually had to stand down operations, and our own aircraft carriers are 1,000 miles away from the Persian Gulf for fear that they will be hit and sunk. What all this adds up to is growing power of Iran, diminishing power of the United States, and on top of all of that, Amy, over the next months and year, there will be $100 billion of oil revenues going into Iran. This will be in Chinese banks that can be used to transform that nuclear-enriched material into working nuclear weapons. And if we can't destroy the drones in those deep caves, what makes us think we're really going to stop Iran from becoming a nuclear power in the next 6 months or a year? You add all that up, and Iran will become a nuclear weapons oil hegemon in the near future, in the coming months, coming years. That means it will be the fourth center of world power.
You're right. It's possible to control the strait without closing it. Explain how that's occurring.
We are watching in real time. Iran is declaring, unless you cooperate with the Iranian military will sink your ship as it goes through the Strait of Hormuz. And that threat has been made credible over 40 days of actually doing that. Just a few days ago, a Kuwaiti oil tanker tried to run the strait. And what happened? It was hit. The French, for the first time in this war about 2 days ago, first time that a European tanker got through, that happened as President Macron announced that France would not participate in any military endeavor to wrestle the Strait of Hormuz from Iran and would, in fact, cooperate with Iran. So what you see is cooperation. That is political kowtowing, gets you oil. If you don't do that, you get your ship sunk. And
all right, sisters and brothers.
This is
all right, sisters and brothers. You hear on the news, they're telling you that the damage that this war in the Middle East has caused is irreversible. America's economy is under severe strain, and they're not telling you the real numbers, how bad this thing is, okay? But what they are giving is still bad. So you can only imagine or picture what's about to happen, sisters and brothers. Just a quick recap. America has missed its planting season And time doesn't wait for anyone. And even if they were getting those resources right now that they need, it takes 60 days to actually put that stuff into, working, put that into the ground. The urea, the nitrate. It'll take 60 days to even get that going. However, the spring season is just about over, sisters and brothers. We're heading into the summer. So America is in very bad shape. And again, the damage is irreversible. Now, we know exactly how this war is going to turn out. Michael and his angels, which is our God, Master Farad Muhammad, and his angels, Iran and Syria, will win this war. They will be victorious. They are our brothers. They're fighting on our behalf. And the dragon and his angels, which is the house of Saad, that's the dragon, and his angels, America, Britain, and false Israel, will be defeated. So scriptures tells us that men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. What's heaven, sisters and brothers? They teach us that heaven is a place up in the sky beyond the clouds and sun, moon, stars. How can that even be proven? We have to get in touch with reality, sisters and brothers. Heaven is the Middle East. That's where the war is occurring. War occurred in heaven. Heaven is the Middle East. So it shares that men's hearts are going to be failing for fear of looking, and you see the scripture right here. I'm just explaining, so I'm going to continue. This scripture identifies that men's heart will be failing them for fear of looking. That means you're observing what's taking place in the Middle East, and looking after those. Let me just read the scripture again so we can stay on point, on track. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. All right. That means that the mere anticipation of what is being witnessed in the Middle East, which those things are coming here as well. And what does that mean? It shares, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. The dragon, the house of Saad, they're sitting on our land. They're pretending that our land is theirs. They named our land Saudi Arabia. They're controlling our oil. The dragon is fueling his angels, America, Britain, and false Israel. So the dragon is supplying oil, supplying fuel to America, Britain, and false Israel. However, scriptures tells us that the dragon and his angels will be defeated in this war by Iran and Syria, who's backed by our God, Master Farad Muhammad. So when the dragon and his angels lose the war, they're getting kicked, they're getting thrown out of the Middle East. And Iran and Syria will take control of our oil. They'll take control of our holy sites. They will take control of the entire Middle East. So right now we're witnessing a purification, a purging of the devil and Satan and the house of Saad being kicked out, thrown out of the Middle East. And it's going to be a violent being thrown out. That's not walking out. That's not retreating. That is an eviction. So just the mere anticipation, just witnessing what's going on in the Middle East, is going to cause an emotional shock. Fear. Men's hearts failing them for fear. And the fact that you're getting this information, sisters and brothers, we're going to avoid this situation. Because a firm heart doesn't succumb to fear. Men's hearts failing for fear, that means heart attacks, strokes, hearts failing. However, we're going to avoid that situation by applying the discipline, the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam. One of those pillars is firm in our hearts. We do that by reciting the Quran slowly and rhythmically, and by reciting those mathematical words in the Quran, we're using our voice to firm our hearts, because your voice is directly connected to your heart. So you can always tell the state of someone's heart through their voice. If they're nervous, you can hear it in their voice. If they're happy, you can hear it in their voice. So firm in our hearts gets us in total control of our emotions. This is an emotional response to something that is being witnessed in the Middle East that's going to come here on the earth, which represents America. Also represents Britain and other European countries. However, I'm focusing right here on America at this point. So hearts failing for fear, that's an emotional response for something that is being witnessed and the anticipation. So by us firming our hearts, we get in control of our emotions. We're not going to be fearful. We're not going to be scared about what we see coming. So we're here to give you this information so that you can make the right decision, sisters and brothers. Now, what is it that's coming from the Middle East, or what is it that's being witnessed that is causing this emotional response? Great fear to the point of men's hearts failing. Let's keep moving. As stated, once Iran and Syria win this war, they're going to turn off that oil. No oil whatsoever. America depends on oil for everything. Oil is the lifeblood of their industrialized complex, if you will. This reality needs oil to survive. Their economic system is totally dependent on oil. They need oil for transportation. They need oil for clean water. They need oil for electricity. They need oil for air conditioner. They need oil to plant crops. They need oil to harvest crops. They need oil to get those produce, fruits, vegetables, and meats and steaks into the store. Without oil, their economy will collapse immediately, sisters and brothers. So when the dragon is kicked out the Middle East and America and Britain are thrown out of the Middle East as a result of them losing the war, false Israel is going to go, they're left stranded, right? Because false Israel depends on America and Britain for financial support and military support. And without that support, once America and Britain are removed from the Middle East, false Israel will be left stranded and will go under siege. They will not be receiving any oil either. So what are these devils going to do when there's no food? It shares that they will be eating their own children, eating their own children's flesh and drinking their blood. And false Israel will be put on display in 4K for the whole world to witness. They will be humiliated just as they have been humiliating the Palestinians. All right, abominably destroying them. False Israel is in a land that does not belong to them. They are in the Holy Land, Jerusalem. Scriptures tells you when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, know that her destruction is near. So that's a definite that false Israel will be destroyed, because what's the capital of Jerusalem? False Israel. Who's in control in Jerusalem? False Israel. So it's a definite that they will be destroyed. So they can't possibly be the true seed of Abraham like they have been claiming since, 1948, when they were established in the Holy Land by America and Britain, who did that to counter Elijah Muhammad's claim that the original black man and woman right here in North America are the true seed of Abraham, and that we are God's chosen people, and that we have an inheritance, a reward, as stated in the Abrahamic covenant. Our promised land is Arabia. That's the land that has been given to us. That's the land that we are returning to. That is our vision. False Israel is suppressing our vision, holding us down. So this economic collapse, this economic destruction, is something that is going to change your lives, sisters and brothers. It's going to totally take you out of your comfort zone. Right now, you're comfortable. You got a full belly. You have food available at your fingertips. The lights are on. The air conditioner is running. You got access to running clean water. Got the NFL going, the next, TV show. You're going to the movies, you're partying. You're comfortable, right? These devils are pacifying us. And I noticed that the more intense this war is, the more that they're up in that pacification, more distractions, the more things to throw you off, keep you from connecting the dots and identifying what's really going on and your part in it, sisters and brothers, because this is all about us. So, economic collapse. How's that going to affect us? We're here. These devils refuse to let us go. They're holding us captive here in America, the land of our imprisonment. Book of Genesis tells us that we are strangers in a land that is not ours. It's not our land. We have a land to return to. We have our own economics that has been given to us, which is our land, Arabia. So, how is this economic collapse going to affect us? And we're still here. How is this economic collapse going to affect these devils? From my perspective, they're comfortable right now as well. They haven't missed a meal. They have some type of hope that they're going to be successful in this war. They're holding us captive, so there's a certain level of comfortability that comes along with that. Just the fact that we're still in their presence, they think that they still got some, they technically they do still have control over us. However, they still they're comfortable right now. And they're planning our destruction. The trap is set. They have all these different weapons they're using against us. However, as we go along, you'll see scriptures tells us that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. That means none of their plans against us will be successful. What do they have in place for their food source in the event of a famine? These devils are all about self-preservation, survival. So what have they put in place? What's one of their plans that they plan to carry out on us in the event of a famine? Because there's a definite that famine is coming to America. This is not a might be, this is not a maybe, this is a definite. They're telling you on the news that America's in a lot more trouble than what they're admitting to. They have missed an entire planting season. So what does that mean for the fall and the winter? What does that mean for the coming months? Any day, sisters and brothers, America will lose this war in the Middle East. And it's not like they have a stockpile. They're telling you on the news that they did not. They missed a planting season. So whatever food that they do have after they lose that war, do you think you're getting any of it? We're treated and classified as animals. And they actually treat us worse than animals. Even their own pets have rights. We don't have any rights here. It's not our land. It's not our country. It's not our system. So do you really think that you're going to get whatever they have once they realize how much trouble they're really in? Once they realize that there's no way out of this for them? Let's keep moving, sisters and brothers.
I'll admit it. I will eat my neighbors. I'm not letting my kids die. I'm just going to be honest. My superpower is being honest. I've extrapolated this out, and I won't have to for a few years because I got food and stuff. But I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, I'm ready to hang them up and gut them and skin them and chop them up. And you know what? I'm ready. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat my neighbors. See, my superpower is being honest. I'll eat your. I will. I'm combat model, optimum self-sufficiency, probably the leader. The point is have you thought about that yet? Because I'm somebody that thought I could fix this, and I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like sizing up my neighbor, how I'm going to haul him up by a chain and chop his ass up? I'll do it. My children aren't going hungry. I will eat your ass. That's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your first. I will eat you. So all you spirit cookers act all tough all day. How you're doing your little satanic rituals, drinking blood and stuff. I'll drink your blood. You understand that? I will hang your up and cut you into cutlets like a filet mignon and grill your before I watch my daughters starve to death. See, now you took society and civilization as if it was some joke you could piss on all day. Didn't you understand? You unleash the animal. Once you do, you unleash the beast, and you're not the beast. I don't claim I'm the most tough guy around, but compared to you, I'm Godzilla on steroids.
All right, sisters and brothers. These devils are saying they're not going to go hungry. They're not going to let their children starve to death. They're going to eat us. He's going into detail how he's going to string his neighbor up, chop him up like a filet mignon, and eat him. Describing the cannibalism that they will partake in, that they will carry out in the event of a famine. So you're hearing it from, and let me ask this, before they go and eat each other, they already joke about, you see this cake of this brother on the table. These devils casually cutting into his body and eating him. That's what this symbolizes. This is a cake. This is exactly how they think, though. So they tell the truth through humor, which is not funny to us in any way, shape, or form, but it's humorous to them. And we are classified as 3/5 human through that U.S. Constitution. So they have us classified as animals. The animals is meat, and meat is a food source. So before they eat each other, what did they do? It's already legalized. It's already legalized to eat black people. So understand that these devils have kept that in the U.S. Constitution on purpose for a situation just like this. That's another one of their plans that they plan on carrying out. One of their shrewd plans. They're trying to deal with us shrewdly. However, the fact that I'm right here reflecting the light, sisters and brothers, lets you know that different provisions, different measures are being taken to make sure that we are 100% successful in navigating this situation that we're in, so that we can come out on top of this unscathed. Not a hair on our head shall be harmed. What is the scriptures telling us? This is the book of Micah. I said, listen, you leaders of Israel. That's the devils. We're not leading ourselves right now. You're supposed to know right from wrong, but you are the very ones who hate good and love evil. Speaking about the devils. You skin my people alive and tear the flesh from their bones. Yes, you eat my people's flesh, strip off their skin, and break their bones. You chop them up like meat for the cooking pot. Isn't that what this devil just described doing to us? So it's clear, sisters and brothers, this is not a maybe, this is not a might be, this is exactly what they are planning to do to us. We don't want any parts of this, sisters and brothers. We don't want, and what do I mean by that? We don't want to be on the menu. We don't want to end up on these devils' dinner plate. So let's keep moving. Book of Deuteronomy. The most tender-hearted man among you will have no compassion for his own brother, his beloved wife, and his surviving children. He will refuse to share with them the flesh he is devouring, the flesh of one of his own children, because he has nothing else to eat during the siege and terrible distress that your enemy will inflict on all your towns. The most tender and delicate woman among you, so delicate she would not so much as touch the ground with her foot, will be selfish toward the husband she loves and toward her own son or daughter. She will hide from them the afterbirth and the new baby she has born, so that she herself can secretly eat them. She will have nothing else to eat during the siege and terrible distress that your enemy will inflict on all your towns. Sisters and brothers, this is unprecedented. Understand that we are walking into unprecedented times. That means unprecedented trouble. That means we're going to be seeing things that we never saw before and we'll never see again. This scripture right here, first thing I notice is it's describing a severe extreme, one extreme to the next. This is the most tender-hearted man among you will have no compassion for his own brother. That means no one is safe. The kind, meek, tender-hearted, compassionate person is going to be eating his own children. So what does that tell you? We cannot underestimate these devils, sisters and brothers. The most tender and delicate woman among you, so delicate she would not so much as touch her ground with her foot. So she ain't gonna walk around, she wouldn't even walk around barefoot. She's so dainty. Will be selfish toward the husband she loves and toward her own son or daughter. This is unprecedented. She will hide from them the afterbirth and the new baby she has born, so that she herself can secretly eat them. She will have nothing else to eat during the siege. Sisters and brothers, how do you accomplish that? Hiding from your family, your afterbirth, and your newborn baby. That means that she's going to give birth in silence. So that she can have that child to devour herself. This is the extreme desperation that we are about to witness. This wouldn't be here in the scriptures if this wasn't something that is relevant to right now. And they're already telling you on the news that this food shortage is really already here. You just haven't realized it yet because they're lying to you. So they try to tell you these scriptures have already taken place, has already passed. This is unprecedented right here. This has never happened here in America. Not on this level whatsoever, ever. So this is unprecedented. And we want to make sure that we're on the right side of this, sisters and brothers. So that's why this information is being given to you. Book of Isaiah. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. My servants will eat, but you will starve. My servants will drink, but you will be thirsty. My servants will rejoice, but you will be sad and ashamed. My servants will sing for joy, but you will cry in sorrow and despair. Your name will be a curse word among my people, for the sovereign Lord will destroy you and will call his true servants by another name. All who invoke a blessing or take an oath will do so by the God of truth. For I will put aside my anger and forget the evil of earlier days. This is the other side of this, sisters and brothers. We will eat while our enemies starve. We will drink while our enemies go thirsty. All right, we will rejoice while our enemies are sad and ashamed. We will sing for joy while our enemies are crying in sorrow and despair. That lets you know right there that this economic destruction that's coming here to America, this is a positive thing for us. Why? Well, we got to let go of this reality this economic system, this capitalism and democracy that they have us under, because we were told to submit, and that's what we did 100%. However, now the command is give them back double. Come out of her, my people. Hither. Return to the land that has been given to us. Arabia. And there's all kind of things, there's a process that we have to go through to accomplish that. So if we're going to eat while they starve, that means that this is going to happen while we're right here in America. Because it's showing a contrast, two different sides of two different perspectives of what's happening at the same time. So while they're starving, we're being fed. Because there's a process that we will go through called tribulation as we get to the extraction point and exit America. So this is motivation and reassurance, letting you know that as long as you're handling your business, applying the information and knowledge that's being given to you freely, free gift, not charging you a dime, not asking for your membership, not asking for anything from you, sisters and brothers, period. Giving this knowledge to you freely because you've earned it. This is what you have to look forward to. Right now, you don't even realize, many sisters and brothers, you don't even realize that there's about to be an economic collapse right here in America. Because they're lying to you on the media, which they control. Louis Farrakhan and his student ministers, they're telling you just love Farrakhan, and pray. That's not going to get you fed, sisters and brothers. You got to get up and get into action. Be in sync with the scriptures so that you understand what's going to happen before it happens. Therefore, you move accordingly. At that point, you're several steps ahead of these devils. And that's why we're here reflecting this light. However, the media is lying to you. Louis Farrakhan, he's over the Nation of Islam sitting Elijah Muhammad's seat. He's claimed that he's doing an economic program for the last 42 plus years, hasn't produced a damn thing. Yet he's a millionaire. The Nation of Islam has absolutely nothing. So, the scriptures is our guide, sisters and brothers. Our guide out of America. And you are not to be fearful. Because the scriptures is telling us what we have to look forward to in this time of unprecedented trouble. It identifies the kind of spirit we're going to have, the kind of attitude, the kind of emotions we'll experience. Yes, our emotions will be disciplined. It shares that we will be singing for joy. We're going to be rejoicing. Understand that this economic destruction is for our good, sisters and brothers, because this reality has to totally be, the lights has to be turned off in America. This machine has got to be turned off. This industrialized factory that has been built that has to come to a screeching halt and be totally destroyed so that we can accept our own vision and fulfill that vision. Let's keep moving, sisters and brothers. Warrior queens, you don't need to be worried. Warriors, on battlefield, on post, which we have been doing for the last 400 plus years. You don't need a lecture about being a warrior. However, don't get that confused with worrying. You don't have anything to worry about, sisters, because you have already been promised in the scriptures your reward. And here we're being told, and this is the book of Joshua, this extends to us, warrior queens. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid nor dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So, by applying the information being given to us, we have our protection, but applying our discipline, the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam, these devils can't touch us. We're told, be courageous. Does that sound like somebody who's worrying? Does it sound like somebody who's anxious, has all this anxiety about how their babies are going to eat? You're not to worry about that. Courageous, be courageous. Understand that it shares, do not be afraid. So that whole fear thing that we identified earlier, men's hearts failing, that's not to be us. We are commanded, we're not to be fearful. So this is motivation or reassurance that you will be secured 100%, sisters. So this is, again, motivation, warrior queens. Don't be fearful. Be of good courage. Be courageous. Know that you will be protected and secured. Again, book of Isaiah. We're going to eat. Reassurance. We will drink. We will rejoice. We will sing for joy. So you'll be secured and protected. And this is what you have to look forward to, sisters, in this time of unprecedented trouble. This, again, victory is ours. Rise of the original man and woman. We're going to rise above these devils. They will not be able to touch us, period. With the hell that they're experiencing, that's the purification process for us. While they are being reduced to cannibals and starving to death, we will be in our ranks, getting up out of here. So we're being told all throughout the scriptures about our victory. Our victory is all throughout the scriptures. So this is a great and dreadful time. All right, this is the book of Joshua. We just read this one. Book of Daniel. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries, but the people that know their God shall be strong and do exploits. The people that know their God shall be strong and do exploits. Scripture is clear, sisters and brothers. The people that know their God shall be strong and do exploits. Does it sound like somebody who's scared? Does it sound like somebody who's fearful? Does it sound like somebody who's starving? This is what we have to look forward to, sisters. This is what we're going to accomplish. Psalms. Oh, love the Lord, all you his saints. That's us. We're the saints. For the Lord preserves the faithful and fully repays the proud person. That's consequence. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all you who hope in the Lord. All right, sisters. We're about to see our strength on full display. Again, being told, be of good courage. Don't be fearful. Understand that consequences at work here. And sisters, we have sacrificed ourselves to save our nation, the original nation, the true seed of Abraham. We ensured that Abraham's seed stayed alive, and we kept multiplying Abraham's seed. We kept reproducing our seed, make sure that we were getting impregnated by our original man in a time period where we were not even allowed to be with each other, but we made it happen. We did not allow that weapon of genocide that Massa was using against us and is still using to this day. We did not allow that to be successful. That weapon did not prosper. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. So sisters, if it wasn't for us, we wouldn't even be here today. So there's a reward for that, sisters. The duty that you have served to the original nation will never be forgotten. Warrior queens, not even looking for recognition, not looking for a title, just handling business because it needs to be done, seeing what needs to be done and doing it. Standing up for our nation in a time of need. That's what we have done and are doing right now on post, 24/7, 365, 400 plus years. They can't take that away from us. So there's a consequence for that. You will, and you are being rewarded. And the fact that I'm right here giving you this information, that's part of the consequence right there, sisters. So don't be dismayed. Don't be worried. Don't be fearful about this information that you're being given. This is to make sure that you are aware of where we are at in time, what's going on in the world, putting you in touch with reality so that you can make the right decision and accept what already has been given to you. So our vision is the Abrahamic covenant, complete and total separation from America. And we are in the process of fulfilling our vision right now. Now, it's wise, sisters, we have children. There's going to be a transition period from the time of this economic collapse to us getting to the safety point and being fed. So it's wise to have a 30-day supply of food that does not need to be cooked. Water, all of that already packed in your car, ready to go. Fuel. The gas prices are only rising, so it's wise to prepare now. Prepare. So that this will be a smooth transition for us and our children. We want it to be a smooth transition. So that's the purpose of preparing. So with that, that brings this segment to a close, and I will be back with more. Assalamu alaikum.